We're a little behind today, but sorry about that. The fastest 30 minutes of your day to make you an overall more informed person. Guys, today's show, obviously, I am not in my studio office. I am in my new bunker. We are having a special edition of the Ask.net show today because clearly, if you haven't been keeping up, Iran, America, Israel, it's all we've been hearing. We are presumably at war. They're calling it a conflict. I am calling it a, you're not going to catch me slipping. People, I'm going to talk about what my thoughts are about the Iran war. I'm going to talk about what I think you should be doing. Obviously, I always tell you guys that this is not investment advice, but this is not war advice either. All right, we're getting the bunker ready, people. I mean, I am. No matter what happens, I'm coming out of here. I got my food. I got my canned food. I got my water supply. I got extra toilet paper because it's a war, but we still got to be dignified, folks. And I got everything that I need. We got everything that I need. What I want to make sure of. Let me tell this guy. Stop with me. Hey, yeah. So that you guys can hear me, I'm gonna move away. I'm gonna move to the lake, guys, so that he can continue doing his thing. And we're gonna sink the bunker. I don't have enough time, guys. I should have prepped earlier. I didn't think the invasion was gonna come this quickly. Oh, look at this. What animals is that, guys? What do you think that is? You guys tell me that looks like a beaver or something. If the war gets really bad, I'm eating beaver. But so guys, whatever happens, you have to be prepared. You can't control you can't control everything in life. You can only control what's in your life. And what's in my life right now is, well, I want to make sure that I'm not running a Costco, fighting old people for waters, and toilet paper and canned food. The reality is that America, we've been relatively safe. We've been relatively comfortable and stable. And we care through a lot of reasons only about one thing. Here's the lake today, guys. Let's see here. Yesterday it was frozen. Not so frozen today. This side, because funny thing is, um, this is facing south. Oh, I showed you where my bunker is. Okay, that's cool because you guys are part of the Ask Down That community. But don't worry about that. Now you know where my secret layer is gonna be. I have a secret layer that you don't know where it's gonna be. But here, this is facing south. So the reason that that's important is I was just talking to a friend of mine of how much I've been learning from outdoorsy white people. And this weekend, there's a Black Farmers event in Washington, D.C. So I'm going to learn a lot from outdoorsy Black people. But now I can tell based on how moss is growing, what type of trees are around, the direction that I'm oriented. So I know that this is south. And you'll tell the difference here as we walk a little bit east. Just like, what is this? You count my footsteps. I'm probably 150 feet in. And look, same lake, a little bit different direction. Look at the water. The water is open. Look, you got ducks over there. I don't know if you can see the ducks, but so when you're setting up your tent and your camp, you know what direction because of the prevailing winds you should be setting up. So just a little stuff like that. But back to the topic at hand. Why are we at war? Is it who is going to win, who's going to lose? And my honest opinion. And I'm not a political guy, I'm just a truth teller. The reality is, I do not believe that there's going to be a winner in this war. I'm going to do something dangerous today, guys. With you guys, I'm going to sit on my tree. Okay. Okay. Sitting on the lake tree, the peace tree. Put my hard hat on while they finish out the bunker. I've worked all my life for this moment to get ready. Ready for what? We don't know. But who's gonna win? Who's gonna lose? The reality is that Iran, for most people in the United States, we have no idea or had no idea where Iran was. We knew it was in the Middle East. We don't even know why it's called the Middle East. It goes back to British colonialism and imperialism. So, I mean, but 9 out of 10 people would not be able to point out Iran on a map. Hands down, fact. And if you are one of the 10, congratulations. But we just don't really care. We just hear what the news pundits tell us. We hear what the politicians tell us. But there is nobody that I know of personally that have said, man, my life sucks because of Iran. I hate Iran. I mean, just not here in the United States. I can't speak for Israel. Never been there. Don't know, too many people from there particularly. So I can't speak for them. But we just can't. We don't have an like inalienable hatred for Iran and their ideologies. I'm not even agreeing with them. I don't. So for those who don't know, there's various types of Muslim religions out there, right? Islamic beliefs, and there's Sunni and Shiites. Iran Shiites. That's 10% of the Muslim world are Shiites. They and 90% are Sunnis. That's the Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. Most of them are Sunnis. But the 10% are the Shiites who have a different belief system. And their belief system is that there is something greater in life than the monetary pleasures that we have so been accustomed to here in the United States. This is not anything crazy unorthodox. This is the same thing that most Christian based religion systems believe in, and Sunni religions as well. But if you look at how the letter of the law versus the application works, most of the billionaires that we know of and most of the extremely wealthy people are Christian, right? So they can talk about all the treasures in heaven as they want, but they're really accumulating them here on earth. If you look at Dubai, if you look at Saudi Arabia, the immaculateness of it, those are Sunni Muslims, but they really like gold. They really like their nice cars and their Rolexes and their Rolls Royces. But you don't really hear too much of that in Iran. You hear more of their orthodox religions. And why is that important? Because you really can't fight an ideology. You really can't. Because what would it take for us to win this war? What would it take for us to win this war is for us to never worry about Iran having nuclear weapons again? Well, we already had an Iran nuclear deal. Good or bad, they had agreed to not making one, right? Like whether they were going to make one or not, they are agreed to it. So how do you win a war when somebody agreed to what you asked them for? Okay. Um, well, you bomb them. You bombed them. Okay, well, great. Couple presidents later, um, when conversation doesn't work, force is, an escalation ladder. Well, we already bombed Iran 6 months ago on their nuclear site. Okay, so what is the escalation when somebody agreed to the deal, and then they were inspected by, the United Nations nuclear arms, whatever. They were inspected. They were saying Iran's not making nuclear weapons. But still, the deal was probably not that advantageous. So what did they do? They were bombed. All right. So now most of their nuclear arsenal is destroyed. Now so what's left? Well, what's left is, well, you kill their leaders. 40 of them dead. More. And now I'm seeing here recently, I saw an article this morning on the news that 800 Iranians are gone, perished in this war. And of course, so many other innocent lives. Obviously, 6 American service members. And I don't know what the number of Israeli casualties are from military and civilian deaths, but these wars don't benefit anybody because, I mean, when do you stop? You, well, not when they agree, because that's already happened. Not when you destroy their capability, that's already happened. Not when you kill leadership because that's already happened. So where does it stop? That's the question that people need to ask themselves. Because no matter what, let's just say the crazy scenario where Iran is completely neutralized. Completely neutralized, whatever that means. They put, 1958, we put the Shah of Iran in government, back in control, whatever. Let's say that happens. His son is trying to get back in power. Not going to happen. But how is that going to affect America? Like, what's going to be better about America after that? After people who support or whatever this war, after they're like, yes, we unequivocally won, then what? We just go back, clock, and get into work. Are there going to be benefits to this for the American people? There might be benefits for if you live in the Middle East. Maybe, I don't know. There might be benefits. I know who it does benefit. And here's my problem, guys. 2 weeks ago, no, I'm sorry. Now, about 2 months ago, time's going very fast. About 2 months ago, I told you guys Venezuela was going to be under attack for oil. You, if you listen to me, I told you to invest in a couple, and I didn't. I'm sorry, this isn't investment advice. I said that I was going to be investing. Right? Don't sue me, bro. I've seen a lot of TikTokers and YouTubers get sued for, you know, all this nonsense. But I told you that I'd be investing in some oil stocks. You know what my best performing stocks are right now? Chevron, oil commodities. It's up like 25%, and it's going to go higher. That's a shame. That's a shame. You know who's making a lot of money? Oil companies. Lockheed Martin as well, weapons, Raytheon, all these companies, Boeing, are up. Lockheed Martin, I saw earlier today, was up about 25%. I personally don't invest in them directly just because I don't want to fuel any particular war machine. But undoubtedly, if you invest in the S&P 500, if you invest in most mutual funds or ETFs, that the market is so interconnected that you clearly are probably, putting money in their pockets either way. But the reality is these companies are going up. So now we got oil companies. Now Venezuela makes a lot of sense, right? If you've been keeping up, nobody, people are like, oh, okay, what about Venezuela? What's the connection? Well, Iran, the Strait of Hormuz there, 20% of the world's crude oil comes out of there, and more like 50% of liquefied natural gas comes out of there. So if you were going to be planning this attack 4 or 5 months ago, you needed to say, well, what happens when the oil dries up, guys? We're gonna need a backup plan. Where can we get this backup plan? Well, who's that? Yeah, I don't even know how to say your name, but Spicy Yake. Tell me how you say your names. I appreciate you. But yeah, so they clearly have they clearly had a plan ahead of time. Now people are saying, right, so you attack Venezuela, which, remember when I told you, hey, we're black, we're looking at Venezuela. They have the largest reserve of natural or crude oil. Now it makes sense, right? Keep the machine going. Insurance companies, insurance. So that back 5 days ago, 8 days ago, to get a ship, there's a thing called war insurance. War insurance. There's when you own a business, you're gonna find out so many different insurance. There's terrorist insurance, war insurance, blah blah blah. The Twin Towers, ironically, got terrorist insurance not too long before they were unfortunately terrorized. Use that as you may. But insurance, for war insurance in the Middle East 6 days ago, was $5,000 per ship. If you wanted to get your ship, look, the ducks are quacking. They're agreeing with us, folks. The ducks are quacking. If you wanted to get your ship out of there, it's $5,000 just for insurance companies. There's a bunch of them. But they cancel these policies. How is it that an insurance company can just say, you know what, we insure you for a war, but it looks like there's about to be a war, so we're canceling the policies? That's crazy. So insurance companies are now going to be making money because where did that war insurance go to? $50,000 for the companies that are agreeing to it. So they're saying we're gonna 10 times it. Not only is it $50,000, but there are now ships. There are some ships coming out of the Southeast Asia that have changed their flag. They changed their flag from whatever country. I think it was like somewhere in Bahrain, somewhere. They changed their shipping flag to American flag. Now, why did you say? Well, why would a ship want to start flying an American flag? Because that's what the Iranians are attacking, right? Well, now that they fly an American flag, the U.S. military and Navy is escorting or has agreed to escort those ships through the Strait of Hormuz to continue the flow of oil. There was a ship yesterday that did this. It got fired on. It got attacked. It did not work. So now, whoa, people are in trouble. So I'm thinking, what is the end all be all? What is my take? That there will be no winners because the United States as a people, we don't have a way to win. There is nothing that we can get out of Iran that will make you, your neighbors. I am in Washington, D.C., as liberal as it gets. And if you're in, I don't know, Alabama, rural Alabama, as conservative as it gets, it won't, there's just nothing that's going to change in either of our lives. That's going to say, you know what, it's not like I had anxiety about Iran attacking us. As a matter of fact, people are saying no, they don't even have the capability of attacking us right now. Now, do I believe that they do? Probably, right? Like no full army really tells you everything that they have or don't have. So yes, I understand that. And the people that are saying, well, what about the oppressed people in Iran? Yes, okay. Now let's talk about that. I agree. I am a people lover. I love people and I want everybody to have I believe so much in free um and fair protest and democracies. So and being able to criticize your elected officials. I believe in that. So when people are being oppressed with that, it's like awful. But Iran is not the only place that that's happening. Look throughout Sudan, the DRC, the Horn of Africa. There are so many places. Look at the Uyghur population throughout China. I mean, there are so many places that this is happening that I mean, you have to start asking yourself why Iran. Look at we have some of the worst people and countries and dictators as allies. I mean, I've never been to Saudi Arabia but from what I hear, dictatorial tyrants as well and life of luxury, but we have military bases there. So Iran is attacking these countries, Sunni countries that host military bases. Clearly, the United States is saying, well, they had ballistic range missiles that can attack our assets. Yes, they did. But the assets that they're talking about are military bases right around Iran, all around there. There's 30 something of them. It, and I just put myself in the position that if Mexico had Chinese military bases, if Canada had Russian military bases, and if you know anything about the Cold War, John F. Kennedy, the Red Line, I mean, Russia wanted to put military base in Cuba. Like, you will not do that. So if my neighbor has it, then yes, of course, United States has the capability to reach Mexico, to reach Canada, and so forth. And that's just the same logic. So without being partisan, without trying to bring politics, okay, okay, just look at the logic. Clearly, if you put your base in my neighbor's backyard, I can reach it. And once you start firing from those bases, I'll probably attack them, right? Just the words of engagement. Now, what happens when we're looking at the people? Yeah, because there are a lot of Iranians. Before 1958, Iran was a bustling, amazing place. I don't believe in religious extremism, and some of these Muslim countries are extremely religiously. I wouldn't call. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to call it extreme. I'm just saying that I don't want to be a talking point though, because I haven't personally been to these countries, so I only know this from the narrative that I've heard. And clearly everything that I've heard isn't always true. So I don't want to be a talking point there. But from what I have seen, they do have some religiously extreme points. But if you were protesting in the streets last week, 2 weeks ago, and we know that there were agitators out there, we know that from what I've heard on Tucker Carlson's show, which I mean, believe it, the fact that I'm even quoting Tucker Carlson is like, whoa, 2 years, that was not on my bingo card. Israel did have some Mossad agents in Saudi Arabia, kind of trying to bring them into the war. Not that they really need too much finagling. They may have been wanting to do that already, but if you were a true Iranian protester, if you really wanted to get out of this regime last week, and you're saying, thank God that Ayatollah Hassanami, what I forgot, I'm sorry, I've been pronouncing his name all day, but has been killed, you're like, great, thank you, awesome, 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 I love that. But then the bombs keep dropping, right? Like if you live in Iran, most of the liberal population is in the city, in Tehran. That's where you will always see more liberals in the city. I don't know. Liberals in cities is a thing. I don't know, right? Like conservatives and rural. There is a direct correlation of how much more liberal and tolerant you are to other people's experiences when you live around other people, and how much more ingrained you are in your own conservative values when you live by yourself. I don't know what that correlation is, but just know that. Like, I can guarantee you there's a weird correlation there. But if you're in Tehran and you're rooting for the United States, if you're rooting for Israel, thank you, President Trump. Thank you, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, for taking that guy out. Day one. And then day two, you still got bombs coming over your head. Then you're like, guys, could you stop that now? Then day three, now your neighbor's house gets blown up. Then day four, day two, the school gets blown up. Now I don't care how much you were against the supreme leader before. If your daughter, your sister, your whatever went to that school, you will forever hate America. You will forever be indoctrinated into the stereotypical we hate America, Middle Eastern analogies that we are trying to fight and combat. Now you're seeing, whoa, there's 800 Iranians that have been killed. I don't know how many of those were militants, how many are civilians, but each one of these people had one or two family members, let's just say. That's 1,500, 1,600 people at least now that are left with a deep loathing for the actions that we're doing. And if these are young people, they're so young. They're young. These guys in Iran I forgot the average age. They're so young that for the next 20, 30 years, there's no peace deal that can be done in Washington and Tel Aviv that's gonna change somebody's mind when 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago your niece was blown up when she went to school. Never. So, like I said, we don't know where Iran is on the map outside of now that you've been seeing it on Fox News all the time or CNN, whatever. But 10 days ago, you couldn't care less. Iran clearly knows where the United States are. Everybody in Iran knows the United States. Everybody, like, you couldn't tell me who the president of Iran was or who the supreme leader of Iran was. Nobody really cared. I can guarantee you that. You can say that you did, if you were well informed. I can guarantee you what you cared about was how do you put food on your table? How do you pay your taxes? How do you stop the government from infringing on your rights? And what Iran was thinking is, we hate America. Here's what they did to us in 1958. Here's what they did in 1970. Here's what they did. So everything has been a progression, and this progression doesn't seem like it's going to change. So how do I think this war is going to end up? I think this war is going to end up very costly to the United States. Because why? There's an escalation ladder, guys. There's called an escalation ladder. It is the telemetry of war, where we're gonna keep going up, 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 Am I still live? Am I still live? Seems like they're trying to block my signal. I'm trying to block my signal. So the problem is, clearly the United States can win the thermal war. Well, I haven't even talked about the cost, right, of the Iranian drones, $50,000, the United States THAAD, which I think stands for Thermal High Altitude Aerial Defense Missiles, and then the Patriot missiles costing $1 million for one missile. That's why you're seeing these stocks go up, right? Who's loving it? Oh, If I'm Lockheed Martin, I'm like, keep sending those up. $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, Raytheon. Yes, they're loving this. Who's paying for it? You are. But here's the problem with that, people. The United States can shoot those down all day, right? But we don't have a real sense of the value of life. Why? Because it's not a one for one. You have to, we're going to talk about something that's really uncomfortable, which is what is the equivalent of an Iranian life to a United States American life for the U.S. voter? For the voter. Meaning, you did not lose any sleep last night because not a lot of you, not everybody, clearly. But most people in America did not lose sleep last night because there were 800 Iranian deaths. But the 6 American deaths, unfortunately, that are being talked about, and it's unfortunate that there's 800 American Iranian deaths too. But we're not covering that as a tragedy because human life is not one for one in the cycle of the world that we're living. It is very polarized. It is my team versus your team, even though we don't really know why we're against you, but it's just that. And the people that are being killed are the ones that we're trying to liberate. So we're trying to liberate you, but some of you will die. I'm going to get up now from my seat. Hold on 1 second. So we're okay with 800 of you dying, but 600 or 6 of ours is a problem. But we can still tolerate it. But how many people can we not tolerate dying on our side? So right now we're a 6 to 800 ratio. I don't know what that ratio is, right? Like so, even if we do it like a 10 to 1,000, that's a 1 to 100, 1 to 100 ratio right there. But if 50 people die, would that be like, oh, now this war is kind of a little out of control? It's 100 people. When will we be like, oh, okay, yes, even though, because you can't convince somebody, oh yeah, 200 Americans died, but we killed 2,000 Iranians. People won't care that much because you only care about your 200, right? Like as far as the United States is concerned, you're caring about the home team per se. So life is not a one to one. But for Iran and for those who have you got to understand the concept of Shiite Muslim. There's a concept of jihad or martyrdom. Martyrdom is when you say, I have a greater cause in this life, and that's to die for, and I'm okay dying for that cause. And that death in fighting my enemy is jihad. And so the death is, and for us, we're like, whoa, I don't want to die for any cause. Like me, I still got a lot of life left. I don't want to die for anybody for taxes. I don't want to die for Raytheon profits. Not me. So I no jihad on anybody I know. Not at all. And it's a sensitive topic because there's real world implications in here, and we just got to understand how much are we willing to tolerate as a country, as a people, without without offending too many people, right? Like, and I hate to say it like that because when you talk about offending, the reason that I say offending is because even how I talk about it, how I'm talking about it is if a lot of these news pundits want to just get shock value. Oh, I don't care about the Iranians. They're gonna right, like because you don't care about offending them. But they'll be careful how they talk about military because it's like, well, we got sponsors, we got jobs, because your life still goes on, people. That's the point. Your life goes on. You can't be on Fox News talking crazy. I just watched a clip where the guy was like asking a general, like, well, I support but the general was like, just ask your question, guy. Like, don't patronize me. Just ask your question, because he was thinking about his sponsors. He was thinking about his 401k. He was thinking about our life goes on. But for Iranians, it's existential. Their life might not go on, so they have no care. They throw it all at the wall. And me, I'm like, I want to make sure that we got a trip planned for the Caribbeans in a couple months. I want to, make sure that I can still do that and blah, blah, blah. It's a shame that that's the level of isolation and insulation that we have. And I'm thankful for it. no bombs over Baghdad here. Grateful for it. And that comes at a price. Sometimes we don't understand what that price is, but for those people who do have bombs over them, the people who are living in constant fear, they have absolutely nothing to lose, and they're fighting for their livelihood, for their life. And when you're doing that, when you have an enemy who is completely against the wall and has been preparing for a moment like this for the last 50 years, us as just young millennials, we're like, I didn't sign up for this. I don't know. I don't know anything about Iran. Iraq made sense because, oh yeah, they blew up the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, the plane went down in PA. Okay, I guess we understand where that came from. Venezuela, we didn't really understand where that came from. Eh. But I mean, we really didn't understand where that one came from. Operation Midnight Hammer. Oh, okay. You guys took out a missile silo. Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. But last point I'm going to make on this. Here's the problem for the United States, guys. And if you guys want me on, your Security Council, let me know. The problem for the United States is that if I'm Iran, or if I'm the Saudi Arabians, if I'm Bahrain, if I'm everybody else, I'm like, guys, we're the ones getting freaking blown up, not you guys, right? Like, we're paying the price. And we bought all of these countries around there have all of them have freaking American made defense systems. American made defense systems. So they're buying American made defense systems with what? The United States dollar. It is called, people, we know it as the United States dollar, but the rest of the world knows it as the petrodollar. Why is it called the petrodollar? It's called the petrodollar because if you want to do business in anywhere in those countries to buy oil, which a lot of these countries have, it's mostly what they have, you have to buy it in dollars. If you want to buy defense systems, you have to buy it in dollars. What happens when people aren't buying oil anymore? Because, the strait's closed. Well, then the dollar is not as valuable. And China is going to come in and they're waiting to. China, I think, is the biggest winner here. I think China is the biggest winner. And I hate to say, I don't even like saying this. I don't like saying it, guys, but I'm just telling you how, and I'm gonna end up. I'm gonna tell you what you have to do so that you're not a loser. You can't win. You're not gonna win. You and I. We're pawns in the game, but you're not gonna win. But you just don't want to lose. But China's the biggest winner. Why? Because they're saying, well, we still need to buy oil. We still need to. You guys, your defense systems failed. Why don't you give ours a try? The ones that you guys bought, the Patriot battery ramp, the THAADs, the whatever, they failed. Why don't you give us a try? Hey, Iran, I wouldn't be surprised if China is selling Iran missiles. I mean, I don't want to say that as a fact because I've seen some claims. But why? Why is that? Because we already know here, at least what we've been told, is China's our greatest adversary. We've never went to war with China. Hopefully, we will never will in my lifetime. But the one thing that we don't know is what China has up their sleeve. We don't know what missiles that they're working with. We don't see China attacking too many countries. So we don't really know what their capabilities are. They might be duds. They might just have rocks that they're throwing. We don't know. Their military parades look impressive, but we don't know if it really works. So if I was China, I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, Iran, buy these so that we can see them in action against American-made defense systems. Let's see how these work. Oh, okay, yeah, that didn't work well. Or, yo, those did work well. Here, Iran, let's see. Because now we want to see what our United States is working with. We're showing them all of our cards. Maybe not all of them. That's why here's the problem that I was saying that we really can't win, is because we have a advantage when it comes to the war, which is we can, technically speaking, unfortunately to say, just wipe Iran off the face of the map. We can escalate it to that level. So the fact that we can always take it up, we can always take it up. Now, what would that cost? Clearly, World War III, right? Like China, Russia, all these countries be like, oh crap, that took it too far. So we have to be the ones that show restraint to some level, right? This is like fighting with your very strong and aggressive little brother. You can really hurt him if you want to, but and then it's like, but This ain't gonna work, right? Like I really can't. So I'm gonna be the one that needs to decide that the level that I'm gonna stop, and it has to be a level that he's gonna be hurt but not completely destroyed because those people were marching for me. They were cheered. They wanted me to come. So if I just kill them all, not gonna work. But on the other side, your little brother has no care in the world of just killing you. No care in the world. They will do it if given the chance. That's why I'm building my bunker because they don't know me. I'm like, bro, leave me out of it. You know, I got my canned food, got my water, got my bananas. I gotta dry those bananas though. Bananas won't last long. But either way, we're planting our vegetables, all of this, because at the end of the day, we're just pawns in this game. And at the end of the day, what you have to do, because what did I do? I invested my little money, but that's not even. Don't even worry about that. Don't worry about the investment part, people. This is bigger than that because I would not be surprised if the stock market collapses. All of this that I'm telling you doesn't matter in a couple months, right? Like I think that the stock market's going up, 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 and up, just being propped up by some rich billionaires that are eventually going to dump it on us and be like, "Good luck, chumps and suckers that bought into this hype." So I would, and I bought into gold and silver. Silver is actually doing pretty good for me, but again, that's just fugazi. I don't have any silver here. I bought a stock that says silver. It's not real silver. What can I do? Like, if the guy who owns that stock told me no, he's not going to give me, right? Like, what am I going to do? I don't know where he's at. It's called iShares on Robinhood. I can't find him. It's not real. Right? Like, what can I really do about it? We have this illusion of like, you know, I feel comfortable because the establishment, because I believe that if that guy doesn't give me my silver money that I bought, I can call the SEC and be like, hey, the guy on the internet that I don't know, but I bought some stocks from him that said silver. He owes me silver, so you have to go get it from me. It's awful gazy, guys. You got to invest in stuff that's real, and invest in your well-being. Invest in like in your survivability, guys. Make sure that you know how to fix your house. You know how to get some food, how to get water. Like some of us are just dependent too much on these institutions. It's all fake. Nah, it's fake in a weird way because yes, it's real, but it's fugazi. You know, it's pixel dust. It's like this. This is real, but it doesn't matter. It can break very easily. Actually, if you break this, you can plant it again and it'll grow. So it's even more realer than the silver that I bought. I'm gonna try to email the guy. That's gonna be on the next episode. I'm gonna tell him, hey, I bought some silver from you on Robinhood. Can you mail it to me? I'm gonna see if he does it. $10 says he does not do it. Guys, so hopefully that's what you know, I don't know what you're gonna get out of this episode. I don't know. I think what I want you to get is this war, and it is a war. They're calling it a regional conflict, but in the future they're going to call it a war. And history is going to be written by the winners. When there are no winners, who writes the history? It doesn't really matter because the people are the ones that suffer. And you heard that from Dominique Pereira. You know, and I don't want you to suffer. If you watch this show, I want you to I want you to thrive, no matter the environment. Out of the things that you can control, make sure you control it. If you live in a big city, just know that if you get bad news today, you're not panicking. You're not, oh my gosh, nobody told me because I thought I was always safe. If they tell you electricity's gone out, you know what are you gonna do? If water, what are you gonna do? Survive, people. Survive. And you can survive by continuing to watch the Ask Dom Nat show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern, the fastest 30 minutes of your day to make you an overall more informed person. My name is Dominique Pereira, but you might know me as Bunker Dom. I got to get back to it.